What's up, y'all? We got another preview and prediction here with your boy Breaking Bad Boxing. We have the WBO Bantamweight World title on the line between Yoshiki Takei and Medina Jimenez. Medina Jimenez, the challenger, 25 years old, fighting out of Mexico, orthodox fighter. The champion, you got Yoshiki Takei, 29-year-old southpaw, former world kickboxing champion as well. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. With that being said, guys, Medina, this is his second time traveling to Japan and fighting a Japanese southpaw who I think is world-class. Ryosuke Nishida was his last fight in Japan. Ryosuke Nishida, his only loss comes to Junto Nakatani. So, as we know, no shame in that one here. So let's talk about the Medina versus Nishida fight. First of all, the ring was huge. It was boat-sized. I really like the way Medina enters the pockets at angles. He has a really good jab. I like his base and his balance. He's super sturdy. He covers ground well with his straight right hand, has a good dip right hand to the body too as well. In his looping shots, he can definitely load up, and I think he needs to continuously reset. He has some tell when he's throwing hooks and sweeps too. He was punching with Nishida at times. He caught him with a sweeping left hand in the middle of round 3. But Medina has a habit of getting stationary with his back against the ropes and letting people tee off on him with his back against the ropes. He's limited on the back foot, limited in turning his defense into offense. Round 1 through 4, Christian was really trying to probe and parry and hand fight when it came to Nishida's jab. But round 5, we saw him make an adjustment, start punching over Nishida's jab. I don't love Christian's volume, but his straight money was the straight left was money for Nishida all night. The straight left was giving Medina problems all night. The one thing I do love about Christian Medina, he was there to fight all 12 rounds. He never once quit on himself. He was gritty. He was tough. And he held his shape and his balance, which I appreciated all 12 rounds too as well. Now, the next few fights, I want to say too, the Nishida fight was a lot closer than the scorecards read. I actually had it 8-4 for Nishida, but Medina put up some tough rounds there, and he had a lot of grit and toughness, especially in the 12th round. All right, y'all, the next few fights for Medina really are gimme fights, but we're still going to talk about them and discuss them. First round finish versus Ivan Menendez. Really good jab. He worked behind, digging left hook to the body 2 minutes into the first round. Stutter step, angle shift, and an uppercut with a minute left in the fight. He finished his fight off with a left hook to the body and a left hook up top. He got the guy that he should have gotten out of there, and he got it done early, which I was really impressed with. His next fight against Victor Trejo. Victor Trejo is a southpaw himself. I really thought that Christian Medina did a great job covering ground with his right hand. In round 3 and round 4, he did get countered with the right hand from Trejo himself, though, that bopped his head back and stopped him in his tracks. Kind of comes back to the resetting thing. Christian Medina really has a habit of resetting, bouncing off his toes, and needing to do it again. Trejo looked confident in the later rounds of this fight, digging to the body, throwing right hands, and it really made me question, why does Christian Medina have this guy still around here up until the rounds 4, 5, and 6, allowing him to have confidence, looking like he's having fun, egging him on in the boxing? It was the dip backhand uppercut that looked really good all fight for Christian Medina. It's what eventually stopped Trejo. Trejo had him against the corner. He had a dip uppercut followed by a small left hook to the body and a shovel left hook to the body and a subsequent sequence of uppercuts that finished the job with Trejo. You could tell it had real pop even in round 7. I do want to note that Christian Medina looked a little bit flat-footed later into this fight too, rounds 4, 5, and 6. So that is definitely something to note. Medina's fight versus Alexis Molina. And as we know, Alexis Molina just went to a draw with Pedro Guevara just last weekend. Medina had a great jab with rhythm, great counter right hook that started off the finishing sequence. Again, he was swinging wide when Molina was hurt. And so when he had Molina caught and had him buzzed, he was letting himself get countered by Molina, who was also buzzed and stinged himself. By a bigger puncher, this could have been an issue. But Medina has shown great durability and a great chin. We really haven't seen him hurt or stumbled. We've seen him get his head pinged back and stopped in his tracks, but never actually hurt. He kept catching Molina clean every time Molina was walking in. And the only issue that I did have here is that you had moments where he was throwing these looping left hook, Christian Medina was, and he was leaving his base. The one thing is when Molina was leaving his base, though, he was forcing him and getting countered off of that all night. So what do I do like about Christian Medina? Because there's actually a lot to like about him. I think, again, this fight's a lot closer than the odds would say. I love his entrances, always enters on an angle, and he enters responsibly. He has great cardio, great grittiness for 12 rounds, as we saw against Nishida. His leaping left hand and his left hook to the body is absolutely incredible. He has good use of his bend and his knees, solid levels. really good ring IQ. I think he's technically sound. He's a technically sound boxer. Good base, good punching mechanics. And this guy is no walker, man. This guy is no walk in the park. They're not bringing in over some chump. This is a real fighter they're bringing over to Japan. I think he's limited on the back foot. I think he's stationary on the ropes. Against the southpaw, the right hand really dings him and really causes him issues. I don't love his volume, and he's always resetting, and his rhythm is very breakable. So let's talk about the champion, Yoshiki Takei. Yoshiki Takei, I'm really impressed by his resume. Jason Maloney, Daiga Higa. We'll talk about the Tong Di fight too as well. Against Maloney, he had a low guard, a wide base. He also had a point taken away from low blows. Really, I thought I didn't think many of them were that low, but the ref seemed like he had it in for Takei all night. It was very interesting. Even in the 12th round when Maloney had Takei hurt, and in my opinion, almost had him out of there. Maybe not out of there, but had him hurt. It seemed like the ref was ready to stop it at any moment. So maybe the ref was thinking like I was in that exact lizard brain thought I just had. So the sweeping left hook he had against Maloney was just money. Lefts to the body were money all night. He was great at pulling Maloney in and attacking off of Maloney's exit. He was almost lulling him in, lulling him to sleep. And the minute he felt comfortable, banging off of that. Pause. Jabs, his jab's a great range finder. Not a lot of pop to his jab, but he finds range with it really well. From the outside and from the long range, I think he's elite. I think he's world class. As we know, he's a former kickboxer, so he likes to use those long range weapons. He took what Maloney gave him. He never rushed his work. He never really tried to get greedy with his work, which I loved. He was really patient in this fight against Maloney. And honestly, this was a really enjoyable watch to me. Even though Maloney only won round 12 and round 8, in my opinion, I thought it was an extremely enjoyable watch. He definitely put some combinations together, but not as many combinations as you would like to see. And he was boxing and stabbing from the outside. I do think Takei lacks physicality. Maloney, who's not the most physical bantamweight in the world, was having moments in the clinch and really tying him up and looked like if they were wrestling, he would have dumped him. So I know it's boxing, not wrestling, but I did want to note that too. A big thing in this fight is he lost his shape in the 12th round. Again, it's Maloney put all the punches together, did his best to try to get him out of there. He was looking up at the clock, looked stars and looked dazed. So that wasn't a great sign in this fight. Now, the Daigo Higa fight, I did see great fight over fight improvement in regards to his 12-round cardio. We're going to talk about it. He has a fencing, jousting style of jab, really bouncing off his front foot. Diego's overhand and wing and right shots were having success really all night. He had a lot of success on the inside too when digging to the body. Diego Higa did. Higa had success pushing and maneuvering Takei around the ring early in the fight. Takei had to get his footing. I felt like it wasn't until about round 3 or 4 that he really got his footing and really started to find his range from the outside. Takei had really sneaky uppercuts when exchanging on the inside. I think Takei lacks on his inside game, but his uppercuts are very sneaky and they go in there. Shout out to Boxing Fight Live YouTube, by the way. That's how I found this fight, was a ringside view of it, which was absolutely incredible to watch. I felt like Takei was a bit predictable in this fight. Simple jab, exit right. Takei started catching him with chopping overhand lefts as he was exiting right. Takei had really good stop and start in this fight. He showed some stop and start uppercuts, stop and start body punches. He did it a few times in the fight where Takei was exiting a bit too high, and when he got dropped in round 11, it was due to the right hook that he got caught with straight up. He stopped and started for a second, then got dropped again. And then he got dropped, which really didn't hurt him. But again, it did drop him and it cost him around 10-8, which it felt like Takei was not on his way to winning the fight, but it felt like he was going to win this fight. It really turned the gears. Now, what I love about Takei in this fight, round 12, we saw incredible amounts of gears. He threw the most punches he threw in any fight in this round. He went for the kill. He went for the finish. He acted like he was down in this fight, and his cardio and shape and pace was not questioned at all. And this fight was really grueling with Daigo Higa. There was a lot of clinching, a lot of inside work. He really made Takei fight. And to me, it showed exactly what I needed to see. Not only his pace and his pressure in the 12th round, but the fact that he held his shape and he held his cardio. So I love seeing that here, especially in his next 12-round fight. It really seemed like he went back to the camp and they really worked on, the road work, his legs, his base. And the next fight that we saw was a first-round gimme against Tong Di. I was, really sweeping, jousting jab, sweeping left to the body that set up the first knockdown with the sweeping left hook. Dropped him a second time with a sweeping left hook, and it was really just an overall first-round destruction. So what do I like about the champion? I love him from range. From range, I think he's an elite boxer. Jousting jabs, sweeping punches, his sweeping left both to the body and to the head are incredible. I love his fight over fight improvement while showing a new nuance in the Higa fight with the uppercuts, where I don't think he has a great punch variation. We saw a little bit more punch variation in the Higa fight, and his conditioning. His conditioning looked great, fight over fight from Maloney to Higa. Great angles. He's an efficient puncher. He sets traps. He doesn't look for the kill. He kind of lets them come to him. When you watch his fight against more elite fighters like the Higas and the Maloneys, even though I don't necessarily think Higa is elite, but Higa is a tough customer and a former world champion, as we know. So he has 9 knockouts, but he doesn't go looking for the kill here. He sets these traps and he allows them to come to him. From the outside, he's so smooth, man, and I really like his resume, man. He's fought in a lot of good fighters, more than just who I've mentioned. What do I dislike about him? I think his inside game has a lot to be desired. He's very predictable. Jab, circles right, far too hittable when he's circling right. He's not very physical, and I think he can be bullied around. And I think Christian Medina will definitely have the physicality edge in this fight. I question his gears too as well. We saw him turn up the heat and the pressure in round 12 against Higa, but I haven't seen him do fight over fight gears where he turns it up from 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 and completely go through it. And I think this fight could actually be the fight that he's going to have to show his gears too. And I also think he has a limited punch arsenal. So how do I think this fight goes? If you've gotten to this point, thank you for listening to me ramble. Please like the video. Please comment. Let me know your thoughts. So this fight could be very easy or it could be very hard for Takei, in my opinion. How can it be easy? He needs to stay off. He needs to keep his back off the ropes. He needs to joust and needs to start exiting at different angles besides just exiting, circling to the right. He needs to circle both to the right and to the left. He needs to work the body on Medina early and often with those sweeping shots. Because Medina, he does have a susceptibility to the left and he does have susceptibility to the body shots. He's very sturdy and we haven't seen him hurt yet. How can he make it hard? Getting caught inside and trying to have a firefight with Medina. Because who has the more pure pound-for-pound firepower? I wouldn't question if it's actually Medina in this case. Medina's dog tough. He has really good base, and he's comfortable inside of a firefight. I think he has far better inside fighting than Takei does. And I think Medina, again, I think he has good 12-round shape. The one thing about Nishida is Nishida has nowhere near the pop that Takei does. And Nishida is okay coasting his way to a 12-round victory. As compared to Takei, I think he's far more prone to go for the kill. The only time we haven't seen him necessarily go for the kill was Jason Maloney. At least against Higa, maybe he thought he was down on the cards in that case. Against Higa, he really did go for the kill. His last 2 rounds I've been very impressed with. Round 12 against Higa and his round 1 against Tongdi. But Christian Medina, man, that Nishida fight really impressed me, how he went to Japan and handled the southpaw, and he showed toughness and grit. This fight's really tough to predict, mate. This fight's really tough to predict. But if we're going to go to the odds and we're going to have to look at the odds, I think this is one thing I have to caveat. I think with what's happened in Japan with the deaths, unfortunately, in Japan, I really think that these refs and commissions may be looking a little bit closer at these knockouts and these fights, maybe to get stopped a little bit earlier. Right now, you can get Takei by knockout at plus 160 on ESPN Bet. And that's where I'm going to put my money. I'm going to take Takei by knockout, ESPN Bet. I wouldn't be surprised if we see this fight go the distance. And I would not be surprised if we see people online saying that it's possibly a robbery for Christian Medina. But if you like the underdog in this fight, which the tape says you can like the underdog and the value's on the dog in this fight, you can take the underdog. You can take the draw if you don't feel comfortable. I'm going to put my money on Takei by finish, which probably is stupid money, but I'm chasing a little bit of value on the winner here. So lower confidence pick for me, but I really wanted to break down this fight because I really like both fighters. So from the tape of what I'm saying, y'all, if you like the dog, take the dog. Maybe I'm playing it both ways with Takei by knockout and Christian Medina plus 300. With that being said, guys, love, peace, chicken grease. I'm going to see y'all next time.